Going into week 6 of the college season, here's the 2.0 mock. I think I started the last one by saying that the Colts screwed everything up. The Colts are still screwing things up because they're a really good team. And I had them drafting pretty early in my first mock because luck went out. But I think I even said because of their defense and offensive line, they can't help but win games. So they're not going to tank. They might go to the freaking Super Bowl this year. So that changed some things for this mock. Draft order changed a little bit. Now I have the Dolphins tanking for Tua, and it's still Tua as the number one pick. I was back and forth with him and Jalen Hurts, but it has to be Tua after watching him play for the last 5-6 weeks. Goes through his progressions incredibly quickly, gets rid of the ball quickly, accurate. I mean, he's just everything. So it's definitely Tua as the number one pick. I have him going to the Dolphins now instead of the Bengals. The Bengals going to mess around and win some games. They've already done better than I thought they would. So Dolphins, Tua, number 2. The Redskins, they're tanking. They're just terrible. It's dysfunction. They're not taking a quarterback. They can't. They can't justify that. But what they can do is take Judy from Alabama, number 2 pick, because they don't have any sort of offensive weapon to accentuate Dwayne Haskins. So they'll get Judy at number 2. At number 3, I have the Jets picking Chase Young from Ohio. As much as I want to give him to the Giants, they need that team went to shit real fast, and I think the best thing that would help them is pass rusher to get the other team off the field. That's Chase Young. Number 4, I have the Bengals. I have them taking Jalen Hurts from Oklahoma, of course, the quarterback. They're going to have to replace Dalton at some point, and Jalen Hurts is fantastic. Riley is making a legitimate quarterback out of him. That's what he does, Mr. Riley. Number 5, I have my Giants. Their secondary is probably the worst in the league. However, I don't think it's for a lack of talent. I think it's the coach. So I see them just firing their defensive coordinator. I have them taking the best offensive lineman available. This changed a little bit since my last mock. I have Calvin Throckmorton from Oregon. I think he's fantastic. He's making Justin Herbert look like $1 million. Got a young quarterback. That's what we need. Can't say that he opens up holes for the running game, which is what I really want, but it could be worse. I will take a fantastic pass protector. It's Calvin Throckmorton from the Ducks. 6, I have the Raiders. The Raiders need to rebuild their offensive line, which went to shit probably 2 years ago. And that's still Andrew Thomas from the Bulldogs, Georgia Bulldogs. I think I had him in my first mock as the best defensive lineman in college, and that hasn't changed as of week 6. 7, I have Tampa Bay. I have them taking Grant Delpit, LSU safety. He was NFL ready last year, so I think that's just a no-brainer. I don't see them taking a quarterback. They're probably going to resign Jameis and try and work with him because he's shown signs of, I don't want to say brilliance, but Jameis can get it done. I blame the coaching. 8, Arizona Cardinals. I have them. Their offensive line is terrible, and Jesus Christ. A lot of talent on that team, obviously, with Kyler, but their offensive line is just miserable. So I have them taking that Tyler Badass, the center from Wisconsin. Wisconsin has a fantastic offensive line. You're going to have at least one more Wisconsin offensive lineman in the first round, I think. Wisconsin, geez, a fantastic team. Their defense might be the best in college. And, of course, they have that running back who we will see in this first round. 9, I have the Steelers. Due to injuries, they're going to draft pretty high. So I have them drafting here at 9. And I have them taking Joe Burrow, LSU, because obviously they have to replace Ben. They traded away Josh Dobbs about a week too early before Ben got hurt. Mason Rudolph may or may not pan out, but I don't think they're going to pass on Joe Burrow. That could be a potential franchise quarterback. 10, I have the Falcons. Falcons could use an every down running back. I don't think they're going to pass on Jonathan Taylor, who really impressed me this year. I was critical of him because of all the carries that he's needed to get his yardage, but that hasn't been the case this year. He is catching the ball out of the backfield very well this year, and I think he's made a point to do that, to be an every down back. So here at 10, I don't think Jonathan Taylor makes it past 10. 11, I have the Jaguars. Their offensive line is actually pretty bad, and it has been bad for a few years. They're a very good team with a very bad offensive line, so why not upgrade the offensive line with tackle Walker Little from Stanford in my first mock. And I'll keep him there as my next in line is the best offensive lineman available. You're going to see another Wisconsin player towards the end of the first round. But 12, I have the Broncos. Even though they drafted a quarterback last year, Drew Lock, they weren't obviously that high on him because they waited until their third pick to take him. So they're not in love with Drew Lock. He's been injured, and I don't think they're all that confident in him. At 12, I think they're taking Justin Herbert, or I think they'll do what they need to do to be able to draft Justin Herbert. 13, Panthers. Obviously, due to Cam's injury, they're going to lose some games, so they're picking at about 13 or about midway in the draft. They do need an offensive weapon. Tylan Wallace, Oklahoma State. Big dude, arguably right up there with Judy as just a game-changing wide receiver. 14, Lions. Is a fantastic linebacker from Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is their defense, again, like I said, fantastic. Number 56, LT's old number, you have Zach Bond, who gets after that quarterback. He flashes of Lawrence Taylor, Giants fan, so I have to think of that. Minus the crack cocaine. So Zach Bond, Wisconsin. Look at Wisconsin for a lot of players in general. Their quarterback is okay, he might get drafted. Look at everyone on their defense and look at their offensive line, because I think their offensive line is making Jonathan Taylor look good. Any team that has a fantastic running back, look at their offensive line for players. 15, Texans. They're going to draft about midway. And here I have that other Wisconsin offensive lineman, tackle Cole Van Lanen, is fantastic. He's going to get drafted in the first round, I think. 16, I have the Browns because they're messing around and it looks like it's not shaping up. Their biggest problem is their offensive line because they invested a lot in offensive players without the offensive line. This is actually the same pick I had in my first mock. They need to replace their right guard. And there are a couple of good guards out there I've seen. I'll stick with Solomon Kindly from Georgia. The Ducks have a very good guard, Shane Lemieux, I believe it is. And that's another case of look at their quarterback, what he's been able to do. Got to have protection to do it. So either Solomon Kindly or I think as far as guards go, I'll put Shane Lemieux as the second best that I see so far. I think we're only going to like the 6th week. 17, I have the Bills. Bills could use an every down running back. They could really use a Jonathan Taylor. So I think I will put my second best running back going into this draft. Could be Travis Etienne, Clemson. Could also be DeAndre Swift, but I feel like Travis Etienne will go next. But I have a couple running backs coming up pretty soon. It's kind of a toss-up at this point, but I'll put Travis in there. The Bears, I have them drafting at 18. They're a little dysfunctional on offense. I don't know why. I like their offensive coordinator. Incredible amount of talent on the offensive end, of course, the defense. But I will have the Bears keeping it going on defense with a safety. A couple of good safeties available in the first round. I will give them J.R. Reed from Georgia. Curious what I had for them in my first mock. Bears. I had them taking an edge rusher. Can't go wrong, but let's go safety here. Even though their defense is fantastic, got to keep it going. It goes to shit like that. 19. The Titans are going to draft kind of in the middle of this draft. I will have them taking the defensive end from Iowa, AJ Panissa. Some people had him a lot higher. I want to say he's had kind of a slow start, so he's kind of dropping middle to late first round. There's some really good defensive ends, some good pass rushers that are going to be available in this draft. We'll see in the next few weeks. That's probably going to change for my next mock with some other players stepping up, I think. Next, they have the Vikings picking at 20. Stephon Diggs is not happy there as of this past week. I was hoping he would screw up against the Giants or just not want to play, or they wouldn't play him. About trading him. Let's give them the next wide receiver. The next best wide receiver. Analysts would probably say CeeDee Lamb. I like Ruggs from Alabama. That guy is just so fast. He's the Tyreek Hill-esque player. CeeDee Lamb is kind of that way too, but I like Ruggs from Alabama. So either CeeDee or Ruggs. The Vikings compliment Thielen, who doesn't make sense to me, but I think Thielen needs that threat on the other side of the field. And if they lose Diggs, then Thielen is not going to ball the way he has been. Next, I will put the Cowboys drafting at 21. They needed a safety pretty bad last year. A team really doesn't need anything, but I'll still give them a safety. Important position. And there's quite a bit of safety talent coming out. When you look at defense, why not look at Alabama? They have Xavier McKinney. So Xavier McKinney is probably going to be a first-round pick. Alabama, they're projecting 7 to 8 first-round picks. McKinney is definitely one of them, so I'll have him drafted around that time, early 20s. Next, I have the Rams picking at 22, and I think their lack of a run game has exposed them. Nothing else. It's not their defense, not their offensive line. It's not their wide receivers. It's not the coaching. It's the only thing different is that run game. Without Gurley, they could go Georgia again and take DeAndre Swift there if he's available. Personally, I think the world of Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt. Could be Hubbard from Oklahoma State, who is probably leading college in touchdowns right now. I'm not sure, but that guy is fantastic on a not incredibly dominant team, which I think says something. I think he has a background in like Olympic level sprinting. So Hubbard, Oklahoma State, look for him in the first round. Could be a Heisman contender, which I'm sure it'll be a contender and probably won't win, but it'll be a contender. 23, I'll put the Chargers. Anthony Jennings from Alabama, edge rusher, is too good. I don't even know if he'll be there at 23. But if he's at 23, I don't think the Chargers would pass on him. Even though they need to start thinking quarterback. 24, Packers. Packers are still missing that wide receiver. I want to give them Colin Johnson, Megatron Jr. from the Longhorns. Colin Johnson, I don't know if I think he's having the best season so far, but he's definitely the second coming of Megatron, like I've said the last mock. So Packers are seriously, even though as good as they're playing right now, they're lacking that offensive weapon. 25, I'm putting the Seahawks. Seahawks are doing okay. I think they're still rebuilding that defense, and they had a really good defense for the past several years. I'm going to give them a defensive end. I'm going to give them Julian Okwara from Notre Dame. I'm very familiar with his brother Romeo Okwara, who's played the Giants. I forget where he's playing now, but I know he's playing very well, and the Giants kept him. So Julian Okwara, Notre Dame. defensive end. 26, these 49ers, this is a huge difference from my first mock. I didn't think that the Niners would be this good, so they're going to mess around and draft toward the end of the first round. I'll give them C.J. Henderson, cornerback from the Gators. There's plenty of good corners available in this draft. C.J. Henderson, that game against LSU, I think cemented him. I mean, it's early. Things could change in the coming weeks, but his game against LSU was fantastic. So C.J. Henderson, cornerback, Gators to the Niners. At 27, I have the Ravens. Ravens don't need anything in particular, which is good for them, so they could just keep that defense replenished. Raekwon Davis, defensive tackle, Alabama. Don't know if he'll be there this late in the first round. I think it depends on team needs, maybe, but Raekwon Davis to the Ravens is borders on being unfair that the Ravens get to keep replenishing their defense. They probably will. Next, 28, I have the Saints. Saints talk about a team need. They need to get rid of Eli Apple, who is trash. He's going to bring that team down. Too many penalties. I don't think he's, again, Giants fan. He's never been that good. He was never worth the first round pick from the Giants. So, Saints, I have them taking a cornerback. There's plenty available at this point. I am big on Christian Fulton from LSU. Could be Christian Fulton. Next, they have the Eagles at 29 taking a cornerback. I have Shaheem Carter from Alabama. So you can kind of flip those around if you want. Or I'm big on Trayvon Diggs from Alabama. 30, these Colts who are damn good. It's funny because I have the Colts at 30, KC at 31. Both of them have the same exact need, and that's to stop the run. Derek Brown, Auburn, defensive lineman. If the Colts could get him, even if they have to move up, I think it's worth the Colts moving up for a run stopper. So if Derek Brown is available to them, I think that's where he'll go. And the only difference between this mock and the last one, I just flipped KC and the Patriots. And I think didn't think the Patriots would be quite this good, but I mean they don't really have any needs either. But at 31 KC, they need a run stopper. I mean there's that kid from Washington, Levi, whose last name is hard to pronounce. Was it Onwuz or Ward K? Is a standout defensive lineman. Either that or Bryce Hall from Virginia, the cornerback, is too good to slip out of the first round. We'll see how things play out. Last pick in the first round, Patriots. They don't have any needs because they're the Patriots. Michael Divinity Jr., edge rusher from LSU. I think it's fantastic. There's plenty of Gators that are fantastic on defense. Miami has some linebackers that are fantastic. Michael Pickney. Help the Patriots. I don't know. As far as who fell out of my first round for my first mock, I know there's Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, who I was huge on. I had him going to the Giants, I think, at 10. I'm still big on him. He's still coming out in the draft. I don't know if he'll go in the first round anymore. I don't know if it was coming out. It's probably coming out. We'll see. And keep these mocks going. I'm trying to do them week by week, get you some highlights.